the Dixon Brothers 2-pack. So let's check it out. So this is the Dixon Brothers 2-pack by McFarlane Toys. I decided to go ahead and review this one because, as I've done reviewed the first Merle, and I figured I would go ahead, since, Daryl's also one of my favorite characters from the show, so I figured I would go ahead and review him. Now, this figure, my Daryl figure right here, has got a few problems out of package. You probably can see one right there, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But so without further ado, let's get into the packaging. So this comes with different packaging than the standard packaging on the standard card, and now see, it's got a big window box that has you can showcase two figures there inside. It says Daryl and Merle Dixon on top there. Merle with bayonet, hand, and interchangeable weapons. Daryl with crossbow, axe, prison keys, and knife and pickaxe. It's kind of got a blood splatter design there. See, it says The Walking Dead there at the bottom. It's got a picture of Daryl and Merle, which season 3 pictures. You can see it kind of continues around to each side of the packaging there too. It says The Walking Dead on each side. It's kind of like the start of the prison from season 3. And on the back there, you have other figures that were available, which I have. Let's see. I have these two zombies here. I got both Right Gear zombies. I got this Governor figure and I got Andrea. Unfortunately, I don't have Carl or that Rick figure, but so I have 4 out of 6 of those actually. So which the Rick is exclusive. I can't remember where exactly. It may have been Walgreens. I think it says McFarlane.com. This was $100 new, which I don't think I paid $100 for this. I think I got it a little bit cheaper. I can't remember how much it was, but yeah, that which this took forever to get here too, because it seems like I got a good deal on it, and it came from Canada, because then I had to go through customs and all that stuff, so it took a while to get here. So so that's pretty much it for the packaging. So let's get on to the accessories. Now, accessory wise, for Merle, we get nothing new. Same accessories that we got with the previous figure, which I believe are mostly the same. I think his M4 and his knife here are exactly the same as the first version. Now his 1911 is a little bit different. Here's the the one that came with the first figure. This one's got more of a shiny, like kind of nickel plated tone, and this one's more of a flat gray. And the grips is not painted as good on this version. On my first version, the hammers also broke off. I didn't actually notice that when I done the review on the first one there, but as you can see, the grips are not as painted as good on this version. And because it's got a different tone. See, the paint is really sloppy on this version. So this one I like much better. It's got a lot cleaner paint apps. Just unfortunately on mine the hammers broke off. And like I said, when I bought it, I didn't notice that it was broke either. So now Daryl's accessories ain't anything new from the original figure. Unfortunately, I don't have the original Series 1 figure to compare the accessories with. But and I'm also missing one accessory that came with this, was the prison keys, which I have them. I misplaced them when I had to move all my Walking Dead stuff. They got misplaced, so unfortunately I don't know where they're at right now. They're somewhere. I just gotta find them. But so other accessories we have here, we have his hunting knife, which this is clearly supposed to be a bussy knife, and which kind of contradicts the character of Daryl. Daryl's supposed to be kind of a backwoods kind of redneck poor kind of guy, so I don't know how he was able to afford one of these very expensive knives, because Buzzy knives are very, very expensive, and see, it's a pretty detailed looking knife. I'd love to have one of these knives, but like I said, they're very, very expensive. But he does have a sheath on his side there where you can't put it. He really can't hold this knife because the way his hands are shaped, it just doesn't really allow him to get a grip, but he does have a sheath there where you can, store this knife, which goes in pretty good like so. And now these other two Beyblade weapons he comes with this axe here, which is like it's a single blade axe with a kind of like a pick end on the back. As you can see, the blade's kind of got like a gunmetal kind of wash on it, which makes it look pretty cool. It's got a wood grain handle there, as you can see, and he can sort of hold on to this, but you can't really store this. I mean, in reality, you really can't store an axe on your person this big anyway, but he can somewhat hold on to this axe, which is pretty cool actually. which I can't remember if he used an axe like this in the. I think he did in the CDC in that one episode. But he also comes with this pickaxe, which I do remember him using this pickaxe in season 1 because he charged that Jim with the pickaxe, and then then Rick aimed his revolver at him, and then when he said this came from a man who put a gun to my head or something like that. But he can't hold this pickaxe because I remember he was standing around holding it like this when they were talking, and I said we put a pickaxe in his head and the dead girls would be done with it. And because he was kind of holding it up like that, but he can't really hold it. So he just wants to kind of fall out of his hand. But you can kind of recreate that moment from the show, which is pretty cool. And lastly, most importantly, he comes with his crossbow. Now this is his season 1 crossbow, which this is a Horton Scout crossbow, which in the show they had spray painted logos and stuff because of copyright reasons. But these were pretty cheap crossbows back in the day. Now they're very expensive on the aftermarket. Yeah, I'd love to have one of these too, but they're, like I said, they're very expensive. I've never seen one of these in person. Although I did his newer crossbow, the one he uses now, that Striker 380. I seen one of those in a hunt store one time, which was pretty cool. But like I said, now in the show it had a camouflage pattern. This one is all black, so that's a little bit inaccurate. You see, it's got the loaded bolt there. It's got the red dot scope on top there, as you can see. It also got a sling. It's got its bolt quiver. Because crossbows use bolts, not arrows. Bolts are a lot shorter than arrows. And it's also got your place where you put your foot to cock the crossbow, as you can see. And it's got a sling too, where he can put it around his shoulder like he does a lot. Now he can hold on to it. His arms are kind of designed in a way for him to really hold on to the crossbow. You can get in his hand there. Unfortunately, mine, the left hand is missing. I'll explain that here in a minute when we go over the details. But so you have to really kind of finagle with it to get it to stay in his hand there. But once you get it in, it looks really cool. It kind of hides his weird arms. I'll kind of explain that here in a minute too. Now for articulation, Merle's articulation is the exact same as the previous Merle figure that I've already reviewed. So if you want to see that, you can go check out that review because I just reviewed it like a few days ago. So like I said, I won't have to go over his articulations. I've already done it. Now Daryl's articulation. So this is the early series 1 figure mold still. So this figure's got some really weird articulation. He's got the ball joint at the head there, which is pretty normal. He's got a hinge there at the shoulder, a swivel at the cut at the shoulder, a hinge there at the elbow, some wrist articulation. Which this wrist is stuck on my appears like it's been glued on or something. May have broke at one point. It doesn't have any kind of waist articulation, but he does have a little bit of a swivel in there. His other arm has the same articulation. It's missing the hand. I'll explain that when we go over the detail of what happened exactly. He's got some weird thigh articulation, as you can see. He's got a lot of articulation in the legs, but it's really weird. It breaks the sculpt up when you articulate it. Mine don't want to articulate good. It's got fins in the knees there. You see, it breaks the sculpt up when you articulate it. So I don't know why they done it. I wish they would put more normal leg articulation. It's kind of like in a weird stance there too, as you can see. And he does have a little bit of articulation in his ankles, but not a whole lot. So let's go with the sculpt, design, and color of these figures. Now with Merle, I won't have to do that as much because it is the same figure as this Merle. It's just the only difference is he has a black shirt on now instead of a tan shirt. That's the only big difference I can really spot between these two. Otherwise, it's the same figure over again, except the boots are maybe painted a little bit different. See, these are more brown. This is more black. But as you see, overall, same figure, just different color shirt. So I'll move Merle out of the way. We'll go ahead on to Daryl. And now this Daryl figure is based on the way he appeared in season 1, as you can see. For the first couple episodes, and then in the last 2 episodes, he wore a different shirt, a more more iconic like shirt he usually wears. But this is the gray tank top he first sported when he first appeared in the show. And this is also the shorter hair version of Daryl, as you can see. Now this really doesn't look like Norman Reedus to me, but personal preference. I prefer the shorter hair Daryl. I think he looks better with short hair. But that's just my opinion. If you like the longer hair Daryl better, I mean that's okay. But it's just my opinion. But like I said, this really doesn't look like Norman Reedus. He's got his eyeballs too are looking sideways all the time. I don't know if they paint them that way on purpose so he can shoot the crossbow, or if that's just a paint mishap or something. But as you can see, his beard is kind of patchy, like Norman Reedus is. Although it doesn't really look like Norman Reedus, like I've said. But as you can see, going down his tank top there is kind of dirty and dingy, hasn't been washed. As clothes ain't gonna be washed as good in that kind of situation. But he's got some pretty good paint details on it too, and his arms, are really stubby. Looking at it, you can see he put some paint details on his arms that make him look kind of dirty, like he hasn't had a bath in a little while. But which pretty cool detail. And like I said, the stubbiness of the arms is one thing about this figure I don't like. I wish they were a little more proportionate. Now his left hand is missing, and the reason for that is when I first got this, I've got the hand that goes in it, but the pin that holds it on had fell out, and I could not find it. It's a very tiny pin. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. So unfortunately, mine is forever missing a hand until I can find that pin. And this one seems to be glued in too, like it broke at some point. So this figure had a lot of problems when I first got it. And as you can see, there's a third problem I'll get to in just a second. So he's got his blue pants on. As you can see, he's got some dirt wash on him to make him a little dirty. He's got the knife sheath, which I have the knife in it. He's got a red rag hanging out of his back pocket, and he's also got his iconic Red Wings on, which Red Wings are like construction boots. Yeah, my dad used to have a pair of these a long time ago. Which I don't think he has them anymore. I think he had to throw them away because they got wore out. But so pretty cool boots. I've seen these for sale at several different places. I mean, they're pretty common. And now this boot over here on my figure was completely detached from the figure when I first got it. It was laying down the bottom of the box, and we like to never got it back on. We had to heat it up and so get it back on. So it's now on there pretty good. So I don't know why it was not on the figure when I got it, but that was really annoying. So it's comparison time now. So here is this 2-pack Merle compared to the other 2 Merle figures. Which is the tan shirt one I've already reviewed, and the Merle Zombie, which I haven't reviewed yet, but I probably will review soon because I got a lot to say about that figure. So, and it is a little bit different than the first 2, as you can see if you look kind of closely. But I'll point all that out when I do a review on it. But like I said, this is a perfect example of using a figure mold way too many times. Although in season 3 he did wear kind of a similar outfit throughout the season, but just a few minor little differences. But they could have not reused the same mold so many times. So here is Daryl compared to some other Daryl figures I have. Now I do have the color top 6-inch Daryl, and also got that deluxe 10-inch Daryl, which the 10-inch Daryl is not actually in my collection room right now. It's actually in my living room on the mantle, but I omitted both of those because I'm looking at the 5-inch one, so that's why I omitted both of them. But as you can see, the this Daryl right here came with the motorcycle, the chopper, which is one of my favorite Daryl figures that they made. It's a very big improvement compared to this one right here. And then they reuse that mold a lot. They reuse it with the 3-pack of with Rick and Paul Roby, I think is what his name was. I can't remember exactly. And then I got the custom bike Daryl right here, as you can see. And then there's the Gravedigger Daryl. They've reused this Daryl mold also a little too much, in my opinion. Was when they made that custom bike one. I was glad they finally kind of strayed away from this mold, and then they kind of went back to it. But this one has the best Norman Reedus head, in my opinion. But so which Daryl figure I like the best? It's kind of a hard one. When they first released this one, I was really blown away by it because it was, like I said, it was a very big improvement compared to this one. But like I said, then they started using this mold too much because they reused it again with the Gravedigger, which makes sense because he wore a similar outfit, just with the mask on, as you can see. But then they made this one, which was a different figure mold, which something I appreciate. But the only problem with that figure I had was it doesn't hold the crossbow very well. It's hard to get him in a good crossbow holding pose, so it's kind of a nitpick I have with that figure. But like I said, it has a better Norman Reedus likeness. So like I said, it either come down between this one right here or this one is my favorite. Now I do have the Flashback series 5-inch one, but it's basically the same figure as this figure right here, so that's why I omitted it too. So here's Daryl compared to some other season 1 characters I have, since this is the season 1 version of Daryl. So I got Rick there, which is the Flashback Rick that has the series 2 Rick head, which I didn't notice, but on the back of the box that Rick figure was the one with the series 1 head that they did. So this is the series 1 body with the series 2 head, which I didn't know why they did do this in the first place with the hat, because I mean it's supposed to go with his uniform. But you see, beside Rick there, I got Dale, which Dale they released a long time later after series 1. Dale was kind of more of a minor character. That's probably why he didn't get released as early as these two, because Daryl and Rick were more main characters. That's why they had pretty early releases, I guess. But so there's season 1 characters. I think this is the only straight up season 1 characters that we have. I could be mistaken. So what do I think of this 2-pack overall? It's a pretty good 2-pack. Now I have had a lot of problems with this one. I forgot to mention my Marvel figure over there too has a loose wrist. I don't know why that is either. But like I said, the Marvel figure is basically the same figure as the Series 3 figure, just with a different colored shirt. But if you like me and wanted to complete out your collection of Marvel figures, this was one reason I got this set. Now they did actually re-release the Black Shirt Merle later, but back when I got this figure, that figure wasn't didn't exist yet, so that's why I ended up buying this 2-pack. And another reason I bought this 2-pack too was for the Series 1 Daryl figure. Now the Series 1 Daryl figure did come with a different accessory that this figure doesn't come with. It came with the bandolier squirrels that he had around his waist and stuff. So unfortunately, they didn't repack that accessory this set, which I wish they did, because then you would basically have the same figure. But like I said, this Daryl figure too, mine had a lot of issues when I first got it too. So that's another problem I had with this set, which I don't think that's the problem with everybody's. That's just something that was wrong with my figure. But other than that, I do like this Daryl figure, and it's just the proportions are odd. It's got really weird articulation. So I'm glad that they kind of strayed away from that, because the Series 1 figures were kind of weak, when they started off, and then as this line progressed, the figures got a lot better. So I'm kind of glad they kind of strayed away from that, Series 1 aesthetic with the weird articulation and some of the zombies having action features. So like I said, I'm glad they kind of strayed away from that and gave us just actual collector oriented articulated figures. So if you like this video, see some more Walking Dead reviews, give me a thumbs up, that helped me a lot, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Till next time.